Good morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. It is such a good day to watercolor, you guys. And I love seeing all your comments come in. Good morning to all of you. Hello, Cherie and Kathy. Laura, good morning. She says, I really like this countdown. Me too. Me too. I have my timer set so that I know when I'm getting close and I can get on time. And then it sort of has all the supplies out so that if you guys want to follow along with me, you can kind of see what you have and pull those things out and we can do this project together. So I love it. And also for those of you who aren't on live, you can see right away what we're going to be using. And I think that's kind of it's kind of a win-win. Okay, let's see who else is on. Carol is on. Good morning, Carol. Hello. Linda, Kristen, Shirley, hello, Suska, Simone. Good to have all of you on here with me. Love it that you're on. Love it. Diana, crisp and cool San Jose today. Wow, I bet that feels good. We are a little overcast. We haven't had a ton of rain. We've had it kind of sporadically, but it's coming. It's coming. We're in Oregon, so we know it's coming. Linda, hello. Elaine, hello. Elaine knows what I mean. She's from Oregon. She's only about a half hour from us. Sheila, hello. Carolyn, good morning, Carolyn. Vicky, hello. Margaret, Barbara. Just got my supplies out. Okay, Barbara, good deal. You know what, you guys, I couldn't decide on the two projects today. And I was thinking, and this is why, is because I'm thinking this might be my last fall project because we're headed to Christmas. And you know what, when it's November, I mean, we might as well start wrapping presents because Christmas is here. So I thought, okay, I've got probably one more live that I can do for fall. And I couldn't decide. So I'm going to show you guys the two things that I did, and then we're going to do this project that was showing on the live, on the countdown. I'm going to do that today. So we'll get to that. But I want to see if there's anybody else I need to say hello to. Teresa, Ginger, good to have you. Margaret, Ruth Ann is in the house. Hello, Ruth Ann. Good to have you on. Joy, hello. Okay, tell me what part of this is your name? So she says, hello, Bonnie, and it looks like Kleina Eula. Is that what it is? Am I reading that correctly, or am I just totally messed that up? Good to have you on anyway. Marianne, hello. Jane, good morning. Good to have you on, Jane. Sunny and warm in Ohio. Okay. Let's see, Kayla from Arkansas. It's so fun to see where you guys are all from. So if you just get on there and say hi from, and just let everyone say hi to you. You might have somebody on here that is like in your neighborhood. That has happened. Summer weather here in London, Ontario. Oh, wow. I bet that's really nice. You guys are going to be getting snow probably soon, if you haven't already. Jane, yeah, snow in her forecast. Okay, Jane, are you from Michigan? Am I getting that right? That would for sure be snow in your forecast. Jeanette, warm and windy in Michigan. Good to have Jeanette on. Tony, hello. Tony, also from Oregon. Barbara from Edmonton. And Michelle, our friend from Down Under. Hello, Michelle. Marianne, Deborah from Chicago. Awesome. Marianne, Colorado. Michigan, another Michigan. Kansas, windy Kansas. Hello from Florida. Crystal, hello. Beth from Florida. Barbara from Texas. This is just so cool, you guys. This is so cool. How are we all on at the same time? I mean, I'm still old school. We had a rotary phone, and this just amazes me that we can all be on, at the same time. Pittsburgh, Kay from Arizona. Pittsburgh, Alberta, Kay. Let's see, Kim lived in Alberta. She lived, just a little distance from Edmonton for, I think it was 9 years. So it's really fun having them back here. But we had so much fun visiting Canada. That was, I don't know if in my lifetime I would ever have gotten to see Canada or any part of it, but we got to see Alberta, drove there several times, and just the coolest things about Canada that I just love. And, since they've moved back here, I really miss Tim Hortons. I really, really miss that. It's a donut coffee place that has the best, absolutely the best. And the Canadians are all very loyal to Tim Hortons. So I really miss that. They're very family. Family is such a big priority in Canada. Everything about the family is, priority. Parks, just the way that they support, moms who are, having babies, families. It's such a really neat thing. And just so many things about Canada that I just got to know because Kim lived there. So that was really fun. Okay, let's see. Kathleen K from Arizona. Okay, so where am I on here? This is Barbell. Okay, Little Owl. This is my childhood nickname. Okay, Barbell. That's great. I will remember that. Thanks for being on. I love that. I love that. Okay, so I was right about the Kleine, right? Kleine, that's German? Am I correct on that? Awesome. Okay, 80 and sunny in Pennsylvania. Oh my goodness, Kathleen. Awesome. Sunny, 75 in Maryland. Hello, Ellen says, okay, hello, Ellen. Doreen from Colorado. Hello, Terry from New York. Yes, hi, Terry. Cindy from Pittsburgh. Okay, you guys. Anne from Ontario. Greenville, Patricia from Greenville. This is so great. Fredericksburg. Okay, Teresa. Fredericksburg, Virginia. Awesome. Gorgeous in Maryland. She says, I love Tim. Yes, Valerie. Me too. That was another favorite thing. There were some really interesting things too. The Taco Bells, and I don't know if they still do this, but they served French fries in their Taco Bells. And that was so odd to me, but it was really good. It just, it was, so many things are similar to here, but just a little different, just a little bit different, especially going in the grocery stores and all of that. It was just really fun. It was so much fun and beautiful. Just driving there from Oregon, it was just beautiful driving through Alberta. Just beautiful. Marianne says, sipping my Timmy's right now. Yes. Love it. Sue from New Zealand. Oh my goodness, just after 6 a.m. Wow. Diane from Maryland. The best coffee in the world, Tim Hortons. No kidding, Linda. It is. And the donuts and the cheese sandwiches. Just the best. Absolute best. Tim Hortons is in Michigan. You know what? That's right. And I remember we were in Michigan. I think we were doing a show there. Maybe it was a, scrapbooking show. And we saw a Tim Hortons in Michigan. We went there. But that's right. Is it the only one that's in the U.S.? If there are more, I don't know about that. But thank you. That's right. I remember that. I remember that in Michigan. Is there just one, Mary? That was so cool to see that. Brenda says, so happy I finally have time to watch live. Awesome. It's so great. And some of you I know hop in and out because you are busy or you're at work. And we just love having you on here. I just love it. I love having you on here. Velda from Roseville. Okay. Good morning, Julie. Marianne. Yeah. Timmy's. Okay. Are there Timmy's in Michigan? Or is it? Yeah, right. Okay, Timmy's, Tim Hortons. Okay, I just made that connection. Okay, I just made the connection. Timmy's, Tim Hortons. Okay, yes, got it. That took me a second. Diana, okay. Okay, you guys, are we ready to get going? Teresa says, enjoyed Kim's class earlier this month. Great. And also, I should announce that we had a few little technical difficulties with my class, my online class, but all of those videos are up now. So, you can go to them from the website under membership, and you can go there and you can see the tutorials on there for the Christmas train. journal. So check that out. And I know some of you were asking, we thought they would be up over the weekend, but it was, I think it was Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday before they were finally up, but they are up now. So good to know. All right. Just had them yesterday with the grands. Okay, you guys. All right. Okay, Amy says Tim Hortons has made it to southern Ohio, I mean. No way. Okay, maybe it's coming this way. Awesome. There are several Tim Hortons in Michigan. Oh, that's so awesome. The coffee, you guys, I'm sorry, but it is the best. And we're such coffee, drinkers here in the Pacific Northwest. We have coffee places like literally on every corner. But Tim Hortons coffee is so good. It is so good. I would go there first, even living here. Okay, you guys, let's get to our project. I'm going to show you the two projects that I did. I couldn't decide, and because I thought this is my last fall tutorial, and then we're going to move on to Christmas. I couldn't decide which one to do. So let me switch over, and I will show you which one we're going to be doing. So let me move everything out of the way here, all the supplies. And I'll show you, we'll kind of go through these sets, which ones we're using for this project. It's not going to take a lot. And let me just actually zoom in a little bit here. Let's go through this one. I'll show you what I used for this one, and then I'll show you that other project that I was going to do. I decided on this one because, for a couple of reasons. We've got these new florals, and I love these things, and they're so versatile. And I haven't used one of these foundations in so long. It's so hard to get back to them. Things come out, and then new things come out, and then it's really hard to get back to these things. And they're so great to use. And I love these foundations. And this was one of the first ones that came out. This was the potting bench. And there were 4 that came out. So you could use any of these in this way. So this one also, the foundation's the wood table, and you can see, if you turn it over, you can see it clearer, but you can use parts of these. So this little section right here would be so cute to use by itself, as would these 4 pots right here. Just color these only when you're stamping it, and then it's just fill in the blanks, honestly. This one would be really fun to use. This one also, because it's got all these chairs on here. And you could just use 1 or 2, just one. Just cut this one out and maybe this pot right here. And you've got the cutest little, combination of things for fall. And just put in your fall colors, or your Christmas, or make them Christmassy. Absolutely, you could do that too. And this one, the door. I was really torn between the door and this one. I really was, because this one, if you change out everything to fall colors, put a cute fall wreath on here, it would be so cute. And look how big the stamp is. I mean, these are huge. So these are full cards when these are done, or framed. I always think that these things should be framed, especially these large ones like this. And again, you could use parts of it. You don't need to use the whole thing. And that's what we're doing today with this one. We're going to use parts of it. We're just going to use the bottom half of it. So if you look at the stamp, here is the stamp, and this is the way that it is stamped on here. So you can see how big it is. And I just used this section right here. And I wanted to use it, and I really like it because the pots are big and they go with these larger florals. Now I just used, these 3 from the new ones, but you could use any of them, any combination of them. You could take off, this little watering can. You could put a pumpkin here. You could take both of these things off and put a row of pumpkins here. You could put any of the new containers on here. You could take the watering can off, put one of the new containers on here. Would be so cute. So these things are all great to use interchangeably. And with this one, let me put these side by side. So here's the actual stamp right here, the bucket. And I wanted to leave a little more space here because I wanted to use this big floral. So I just didn't color this part of the bucket. So this section right here and the handle. So the only thing I inked was this section right here. So keep that in mind too. You're not locked into any of these things. You could leave them off. You could change the size of them. You could totally put something else in there. The top would also be cute. Look how cute this would be. This just a little shelf with the hat hanging there. Let's move it over to the white so we can see it better. This would be so cute, just hanging on here, and you could hang another little pot right here. So you could take a small pot like this, just put a little, hanger here and put that pot down here, and you could have something hanging from this too, and have the cutest little arrangement. Just so cute. You could also take one of these off and put a pumpkin up there. So you can make it Christmas, easily make it Christmas just by putting the reds, and the greens, green holly coming out of here. They would just be so cute. So many different occasions and so many ways to use these. And like I said, I haven't gotten one out in so long, and I thought I'm going to get one of these out and I'm going to make a fall scene with it. And that's what I did. So let me set this aside. And let me just explain to you also, it's not really a fall scene. The thing about this is that these colors, yellow, orange, blue, go together beautifully. And then adding the green in there also. It's a beautiful combination, whether it's fall or not. So keep that in mind. Some color combinations are just beautiful together. Blue and yellow are complementary, so they always look really beautiful together. And different shades of blue. So a warm blue like this is beautiful with a warm yellow. And then an orange. Orange and blue together also, beautiful together. So this is just a great combination, which is why I wanted to do it also, because we don't always have to use yellow and orange just for fall. It's so cute, just whatever part of the year that it is. So even though these colors are all traditionally fall, they go really well together with these florals that aren't fall at all. They're not fall at all, but they work really well together. So it could be for any occasion. So just always keep that in mind, when you're doing these things, and especially these colors, because I tend to, when fall is over, tend to put the orange away and the yellow, and really they're so beautiful just, throughout the year. So that was the other thing I was going to tell you. And then let me set this aside. Well, actually, let me just go over what else we're going to need for this project, and then I'll show you the other one. So of course the foundations, this is the potting bench one, and you can see how big it is. This is the section right here that we used, and only this bottom section of the bottom of the bucket. So not this section over here. Otherwise, everything else in here is the same. I inked everything else the same, and I'll show you exactly how to ink it too. So let me move that aside. And then from this set, so this is one of the new floral sets. So in this one, I used this one right here and this one. So these two. This one right here is the yellow, and then this one down here is this little floral in this pot right here. So those two from here. And then from this set, these are the long stems, and it was hard for me to pick because I wanted to use this one and I wanted to use this one also, but I wanted to keep it simple. So it's not, when you're doing a composition like this, you really kind of have, a focal point. And when we've got these big florals like this, we don't necessarily want a giant floral over here. It's better to do something a little simpler, which is why I did this one in this pot and this single stem version in this one. And it makes it a little bit different. It's not just a giant bloom in each pot. It's some foliage in here, some foliage in here. And it sort of offsets this a little bit better. So here's the one that I used, this one right here. And you can use this one that is partial like this, but I just accidentally stamped it down too far. And so I only colored half of it just to make it look like it's half open, which is exactly what this is. So you could use this one and this one, or you could just use this one and only color the top part, which is exactly what I did on this one. Okay, so that's that one. And then we just need a couple more. So we need a vine, any vine. This is the simple one, and most of you have it because it's from the first set that we always recommend. This one, and we're only using just part of it. And then this one right here. Love this. I just love this little thing. It's so great to just fill in everywhere. You could fill this into every pot and change the colors out and make it every color of the rainbow on this little shelf, and it would be so cute. So I love this thing. All right, so that is this project. This is the one that we're going to do today, and I'm going to show you how I stamped it, and we're going to move on with that. But I wanted to show you the small little project that I couldn't decide on whether to do or not. And it's from Christmas last year, and you can see the light's reflecting in there, so I hope you guys can see, but it's shiny. It's a little snow globe set, and it's from this set right here. And it's came out at Christmas, and you always think of it as Christmas, you know, with a snow globe, but it's really cute for another time of the year too. And it comes with the dome, the little dome, and then it also comes with the cutout. So the cutout, you know, cuts out the opening so that you can see the watercolor from the back side. And it also has in it these tiny little leaves. So it's got 3 tiny little leaves that you can cut out and put inside here, just like you would the snowflakes for the Christmas one. And I just used the little house that's in here, put a little fence with it and some little bright colored trees. And then I cut up these little leaves and just put them in here. And I think it's just so cute. I just couldn't decide, you guys. So I opted for the larger one, and you know, but I thought I would show you this one for sure, just so that you could see exactly what it was from and just give you an idea to try it, because it isn't just for Christmas, although Christmas is coming up and you could for sure make it. And this is just the cut. So it comes with the pedestal too. So you could also make it that way. And there are tutorials on this, on how to do this, and especially with the Christmas one. So we do have that on our website. So check that out from last year. It was just Christmas last year. And that's when the tutorial came out for this one. But I just love the fall version. I think it's so cute. And I forgot that I added these leaves in here. So I knew I had the snowflakes for Christmas, but I forgot I added the leaves. So I was thinking that you could use it for a fall also. Even a single tree in here with the bright colors would be so cute. It doesn't even have to be a scene. It could be, you know, a little row of pumpkins. It could be a single tree with multiple colors on it. So, you know, and then your leaves in here. So it could be just a simple little thing that you could just add to a card, and it would just be so cute. So anyway, you guys, I had to show that to you because I made it. So I wanted to show it to you. And let me see where I am. Yes, Amy, thank you for posting that. You guys, I'll be giving these away, both of them. So let me know in the comments if you would like to be in the drawing to win these. And Leah will be picking a winner. So be sure to say that in the comments. Okay. Tina says, notice that many of your new sets are so compatible with your older sets. It's wonderful. Thank you. Tina, yes. And that is on my mind all the time, because in my mind, when you are buying these things, you're buying it as a collection, and you want to be able to use it with things that you have. And it makes them so much more versatile. Marianne, when you design a stamp, design it for versatility. Yes, I do. I do, Marianne. I think about that. I think about all these things. I think about the size, what it can go with, how many ways that you can use it, how you could change it up. And yes, absolutely. When I leave space like that, because I don't like to fight with the lines. I don't like to fight with lines, and I don't want to stamp over lines and have them kind of be in the way. So I leave space, you know, on this one, and especially on, you can really see on here, on the doorway. See all the spaces left here where the door is, and spaces here so that the flowers, you know, the florals can fit into these pots, you know, all around. This one can kind of overflow over here onto the door. So I do think about that, because it's hard to, you know, especially when you're doing lighter colors like these, you have to either stamp it and leave those spaces off, but that takes planning too. You have to kind of, you know, think about what you're going to put in those containers so that you can leave those lines off. For example, if this line came all the way down to this container, see, like this one, you know, this piece right here, if that came all the way down, you would have to take that off when you're stamping it. So you would have to, only stamp to a certain ink to a certain place so that you have room for that. And I just leave it off. I just left it off because to me, it's easier to draw that in with a pencil. So for example, if I wanted this to come all the way down, I just take my pencil and I just continue this line down so you can see it from behind. And to me, that's much easier than thinking about how to avoid that, and leave it off when you're stamping that in. Okay? Anybody help? You guys, I love these questions. Okay. Gail, it's so great to learn to use stamps differently and creatively. Love this. I'm always learning something new from you. Gail, that is my job. That is my job. That's my vocation. I honestly think that. And I love it when I can do a project, which is part of the reason why I picked this one to show you, is because there are more learning things in it. There are more things for me to teach you in this project. And I know that everyone is busy. Everyone has things that they're doing. A lot of you are working, you have jobs. Some of you are retired, but you're still busy. And when you give me your time like this to show you something, I really want to make it worthwhile. And I want to have something that you can learn from each tutorial. So when I walk away from it and I've finished my project, I want to know that I've taught you something that you can take to the other projects that you're doing. So that is a big deal for me, really is. Okay, you guys. Let's get to it. Let's get to our project. So I'm going to zoom in a little closer so that you can see. And I went ahead and stamped it. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. It's so much quicker for me to do this. But I used a stamp platform. And I know that I've been saying that on a lot of these lives. But when you're using these big stamps, you really need to have something like that can position your stamp, onto the platform. Position it so that you can ink it again if you miss a little corner. You can press on it really lightly to start, and then as you go, you can press on it again and again. It will keep your image lined up. So it's really important for these large, stamps to do that. And when you're stamping in something like this, these stamps from these sets, these are clear. So you can see exactly where they're going. And it's so much easier to line them up when you can see where they are into the container. Now you can see here that the leaves are stamped over the edge. Now I could have left this edge off, but it would have been a little hard to line it up and place it in here. But when I looked at it, I could see that the leaves are going to be green, and this is pretty light, and I thought I'm going to get enough color on here that it's going to wash these lines out. So it's not going to matter that it's stamped over the edge of the box. Now if that bothers you, you can just leave this line off when you go to stamp it, and then just kind of stamp your image in here. You're going to see where the edge of the box is by the way that the leaves are kind of laying on the image, especially if you just have this part stamped. You could just continue this line, and then you could add it in with a pencil depending on where you stamp it in here. So try to make it the easiest way possible to do it. Now I overlapped the pot here, the watering can. You can see that stamp is overlapping. If this is too dark, if this looks too dark, this can come forward and the flower can go back. If this is light enough, the flower can come forward and the handle can go back. So you just kind of have to look at it and see which part can I wash out? Can I wash the yellow out easier than I can wash the handle out? And then, you can always, if you're planning ahead, just leave the handle off so that you're not having to deal with that. Okay, other than that, everything else is stamped the exact way that it is on the stamp. So I haven't changed anything, but also keep in mind, you can change this out. A cute little pumpkin would be so cute up here. A little character, asleep in this pot would also be really cute, so that you're kind of switching it up. And you can see in here, I didn't put anything in this watering can because I have so much going on out here that I feel like if I had put more foliage in here, it might have taken away from this arrangement right here. So I left this really simple. I just left this simple, and I left this one pretty simple, and this one also pretty simple. So here are the detailed flowers that are in this composition. Okay, I hope that makes sense for you guys. So let's get going here. When I stamp this, I stamped the large image first, and then I just left the part of the bucket off. So you can barely see it, but the bucket comes clear up here. And you can see that that would not have left me enough space to add these florals in. So, you know, just keep that in mind. You can see a tiny little bit of it here. And if you have a little space, just take your pencil and finish that line. This is a must in your toolbox, a pencil. I don't know if there's very many projects I don't do that I don't use a pencil somewhere. Anywhere that you see a line maybe isn't, you know, finished, maybe it was super light when you were stamping it, you can finish those lines with your pencil. Just finish the lines up if you're missing anywhere. Like this here, see this line right here? We'll just continue that on just like that. Okay, so a pencil necessary. And then, so I ink these in these two colors. No surprise there. 565 first, 969 second. Don't stamp it off after the 565. Just ink it first in this, right over the top. Stamp the 969. And then stamp it off at least one time. At least one time. And then stamp it onto your canvas. Okay? Julie says, loves the pencil technique. Yes, Julie. And you know what? You can get a little color out of it. Surprisingly. That was a surprise to me. I did not realize that. But when you go to pull color out of the lines, you'll get a little color from the pencil, which is really cool. So it's a fix-all, honestly. And you know what? The simple tools are the best. They really are. Simple tools are the best. Okay, so we're going to put these two aside since it's already stamped on here. Then this floral right here is stamped in two colors. And I use the 249, the cool green. You could use either one. And then yellow. So this one. This is also another reason to use a stamp platform. You know, and you guys all know what I'm talking about with the stamp platform. It has a lid, and the stamp adheres to the lid. And then the canvas, your watercolor paper, is placed on the platform with a magnet that will hold it in place. So when you go to ink that stamp, you bring the lid down and it will stamp your impression. Then you can lift the lid and you can bring it back down again to the exact same place. So when you're inking something that's really light, this is what I used to ink that 993 and the green. The green is a 249. And it's very light. So I had to re-ink it twice to get it really pretty dark on here. But I didn't need to re-ink the leaves. So you can clean off your stamp. You could wipe it off, and then you could re-ink just a certain, you know, section of it that you need for it to be darker. And that's what I did with the yellow. I just wanted the yellow to be a little bit darker on there. This is the 993. And then you just drop that lid down again 3 or 4 or 5 times if you need to. And it will stamp it exactly in the same spot as you had the first time. So that's the benefit of it. And you're gonna get a perfect impression every time. And if it's not perfect, you just re-ink it again. Just re-ink it again and stamp it right over the top. So with these large, you know, combinations, it's really important to do that. All right, this one, I just inked in one color. And here's the 407. And there are different pens that are similar to this one. Here's the 373. This one I believe is a little bit darker, but look at the lids. I mean, you can hardly tell them apart. But this one is a little bluer, and that's the one that I use. So the 407, that's what I use to ink this floral. And then, of course, the green on the leaves. And I could place it, you know, I could just lay it over the top of my you know, of my image, and I could see exactly where it was going because this is clear. These are clear. Okay, if you have a stamp that you want to place in here that is not clear, you're going to want to use a stamp positioner to make sure you get it in the right place. Okay, so let's keep going here. And we are ready to get started on the project. So let me grab my palette and get this into the screen here. Amy, I'm just lurking in the background. Amy, we love lurkers. You are welcome to lurk as much as you want. That's what I would do, honestly, if I were on to. I would be lurking in the background. Okay, so I'm using 2 brushes. I've got my little number 1 And then I have, of course, my number 4. So I'm going to get both of these wet. And let's just start at the top and just work our way down. Okay, Leilani says, got a Misty, and yes, what a game changer. Love it. Yes, I have a Misty too, and I've had it for years and years, and it is great. And you know what? But they're a bit expensive, you know, but it's also a really good investment to have. There are less expensive ones out there. So they all do the same thing. Basically, it's a lid that opens, and then you can stamp over and over onto the same exact position. And you will be so glad that you got that. You really will. If you're struggling to stamp these things and get them even, and you can see on here, all the lines are even. It's the same amount of pressure to stamp it. And if you're using a giant block to stamp this, you're going to need a cushion, some sort of cushion on the bottom. And then chances are the middle will be light when you go to stamp it. And then it's really hard to fix that. Really hard to fix that, and you waste a lot of paper. So, Roberta, stamp positioner is worth the investment. Absolutely, because there are a lot of rubber stamps, and the rubber stamps are for stamps that are stamped in a repeat. So things that you're going to stamp over and over again, those are rubber. And you know, these that are a single impression, those are clear. And it's, you know, I really honestly prefer the clear for these because they're so much easier to line up. You can see through them, and it makes everything so much simpler. And you know, I love the rubber too, but it has its purpose. So when you're stamping over and over again, you need that ink to stay on the rubber, and the rubber holds the ink much better than a clear stamp. But with a clear stamp, you only need 1 impression, 2, because you want to stamp it off. So 2 is about all you get with a clear stamp, but that's enough. It's enough because you're just stamping it on here. And if you have to re-ink it, you can do that using your stamp press, your stamp platform. Roberta, you'll never mess a sentiment if you use a stamp positioner. Yep, you really need both, honestly. And I used to say you just need a stamp positioner, but you really need both. You need some sort of stamp platform, and you need a stamp positioner. It's a worth the investment for sure. Okay, so let's continue on, and we're going to just start out up here with this, the yellow, and I'm going to use my my larger brush with this, and then we're going to go to the switch to the smaller brush when we go to this this one. And since we're doing this floral, I'm just going to zoom way in. We're not adding any color yet to it, and I want you to see how to color these, because it's really important to do them the right way. It really is. First of all, we're ever crossing lines with these. Never. You want to stay in each section. That is an absolute rule, because this will become a saucer and it will just be flat. And it will look so different if you just do these things, you know, individually. So we're always starting where the color is the darkest. And that is now in the center. And we're just dragging that color out. And we're pulling it really from these lines. We're pulling that color from the lines here, not from the outside. So we don't really want too much color on the outside of the lines. And we're going to come back to this, and we're going to add some more color to it, but we're just starting. So in here from the center, and you can see where these little lines are in here. Those are for added color, because here's where the darkest color is right here in the middle. The leaves are coming down to the center, and this is where it's going to be the darkest. And I can see here now that the handle is probably going to come into the foreground because it's much darker, and it's going to be harder to wash that out with this bright yellow. So we're just going to wash this yellow out and pull this green out, and the handle is now in front of this little floral. And we can add a little more green to it too. All right, so we'll just keep going here. I'm only dipping the tip. That's another thing. Always remember that. You're never dipping your brush in the water to the metal, ever. And never dipping the whole brush point into the water. Never. Only the very tip. Like literally this much of the brush goes in the water. You're just barely, and then you're always pitching it off, always. Because these, you know, little areas, they're so small. And, you know, we just want to make sure we don't flood these images with water. And then the outside, so the color is concentrated to the middle. And what that does is it brings the edge up. It brings it up, and it looks like the petals are coming down to the center. And that's exactly what we want, because they are coming down to the center. And the light just means that the white up here just means the light is catching the edge, and that's why it looks like it's higher. It's up higher. And just each section, it's really tempting to just want to color the whole thing in, but you just can't. You got to just take your time and just follow the process. Even these tiny little ones, you just want to do all of these little sections individually. On my screen, this looks like the yellow is really green and it's almost gold, but it really isn't. This is the 993, and it's a beautiful kind of a honey yellow. And it is just, it's absolutely a beautiful color. It's my favorite of the yellows. But you can also use the lemon yellows, because they will also be beautiful with these blues. Blue and yellow, blue and orange will always be beautiful together. Okay, so you can see we've washed out a lot of these lines in here just from the color. So we're gonna now go ahead and we're gonna do the green. So just dip your brush, clean it off, and then you're gonna just pull the color from these lines that are on the inside of the leaf. They're also there for color. And we can put a little more color in here, and we can add these details back in. So for now, we're just grabbing this color and coloring these leaves. And then we'll just hit these little stems with a little green like that. And that's the first step. That is the first step. Now we're going to go back and we're going to add some more yellow to it. So I'm going to add some yellow to my palette. Let's go down a little bit here. So this is, again, the 993. And then we'll put some of this green on here. And this is the 249. Hi, Georgia. Welcome from exercise class. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. You guys just come in and out anytime. All right, so I'm going to add some of this green now to the leaves. And it's also, it also adds a little more interest if you just make one side of the leaf dark. It makes it, anytime something is all one color, it's going to look flat. If you put the color kind of, leave the color on one side, it makes it look like the leaf is bent. It doesn't have to be super obvious, but just when you're coloring, when you're adding more color to it, just try to concentrate it more on one side. Think about wherever the dark is, that's the lowest part of the leaf. And then where it's lighter up here, that's where it's bent. That's the top. And your eye will just see that. It'll just see that. Okay, so now we're going to take some yellow and we're going to add some more yellow in here to the center. And then pinch your brush off and just drag it out a little bit. So apply that color, where it's the darkest, pinch your brush off, and then just drag it out a little bit. Same over here. Pinch your brush off, and then just drag it. And you want to still leave that light edge at the edge of the flower. And let's do this one over here. And this one's you can see it's kind of folded here. So we're going to leave just a little bit larger light area here. And I am just always pinching my brush off. And the more that you do this technique, the more you just will automatically do that, because you'll have a feel that the brush is too wet. And so you just need to pinch it off. See, this one, these petals kind of curve a little bit. but they still have that light edge. And you can see how that it makes a difference because the light is catching here on the edge of these petals. And we want to add the yellow here too, and with just every section by itself, and leave that little tiny tip light up there. Okay, so now we're going to take the bullet tip of this pen, and normally the bullet tip, of the brush markers is it's too big to use and too dark. But when it comes to yellow, you can. Hello, Cecilia. Welcome. So glad you're here. You didn't miss much. We're just still barely in this flower. And we're going to put some of these lines back in. So you can see that the bullet tip is pretty light. And so we're just putting just a few of these little lines back in. Oh, I've totally forgot this flower, this lone flower down here, you guys. I left this one out. I can't forget this guy. And it's in the background now because this is coming over, so the handle is coming over to the top, and that kind of sets this back in the background a little bit more. All right, so while that's drying, I'm going to add some more yellow to that. But while that's drying, I'm going to take my orange, and I'm going to take this one, the 933, and I'm going to use the bullet tip. And I'm going to really darken the center here. And just add just a few little marks with this too. And you can see how that just looks like. You can clearly see that is down inside the flower, and that this edge is on the outside. Okay, so now this is dry, so let's take just a little bit of this yellow. And then I'm gonna use my tiny brush, and I'm just gonna take some of this green and get the stems. Let's take a little bit of this. Oops, still too wet. And we'll just get this part here. In here. Now you can take your brush now, and as soon as this is dry, you can put some of these lines back into the leaves. And just put a little bit of detail back in there. All right, so let's keep going. Let's go to the little watering can, and then we'll come back to the box after all of these are dry. So the watering can, I'm just using a gray. And this is the one that I'm using. This is the N75 gray. It can be any gray. This one has a little bit of blue tone to it. So I really like this color. This is the N75. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to just pull some of this color out of the lines. So we haven't done that yet on any of these containers. So we're going to just start doing that on this one. And you can see that just that mix of color when it comes out, it's great. It's got that, earthy tone to it. It's that combination of that blue and brown. And there's nothing like it for making something look like it's an actual thing. Not a picture of a thing. And I think I can probably just use my bullet tip and just darken this handle right over the top of that floral. All right, so now I'm going to add a little more color to it. And I don't need to add that much. Now see on the bottom here, this is going to be darker because the light is coming from the top. So when you have something like this, a dome, or a contour, this underneath here is the darkest part. So that's where you want to put your shadow. And then we also have a contour here. The pot is rounded, so we want to make sure that we have a highlight in the center. And you can just keep adding color until you've got it dark enough, dark as you want. And then we're going to come back and add some detail in here too. Okay, so now let's take a pencil and we are going to, let's see, where's my pencil? Here it is. We're gonna, do you see this little line here where the handle is? That is to, you know, continue the container. So we're gonna just start from here and we're just gonna make a little line that kind of comes across like that. And then now, because, you know, if we were putting flowers in here or foliage, we don't need this line back here. And that's why it's not on there. So, but when we want to just leave this empty, we need to see the back of the watering can. And then inside here, we can add some color. So we'll add a little bit of water in here. And I'm just going to add some of this blue. So this is the 565. And just using my little tiny brush, I'm just going to take a little of this blue and just right in between these lines. Don't bring that blue clear up to the other line in the back. Don't bring that all the way. We want to see that edge. Sandy, all these tips are amazing. Thank you. You are so welcome, you guys. More green on top, yellow flower under the petal. More green on top, yellow flower. Oh, yes. Thank you, you guys. Thank you. You know what? I miss something all the time. I would have missed that little flower in the back. Who knows, till the end, probably. But yes, you are right. Let's do that right now. That would bug me too. Yes, the absolute little stem that is right there. And while we're at it, we want to make these little areas that are right under the flower, we want to make those dark because that pushes the stem back to the middle of the flower and it looks like it's hanging over. Great. You guys, if you see stuff like that, be sure to tell me. Okay, so now you want to be sure to leave this white line here. So don't bring this blue clear to the edge. What that does is it makes it look like this is a razor thin edge of the watering can. So we don't want to do that. So just bring that water, just kind of think about it. It's right in the middle of this little section. Okay? And then let's add some little detail back into the watering can. And I'm taking my twin tone, my tiny twin tone. And we're going to make these little holes. We're going to add those back in, like so. This is another thing, a must. Look how worn this is. But these things really hold up. I mean, I've been using the same brown twin tone forever. And I mean, if the color is wearing off, like I've been using them a lot. So these are just a must to have. They have a tiny, tiny point and they're just the best. All right, let's continue. Let's just finish this up. And I just made something decorative on it. But you could put whatever you want on it. I made this little design. You could put a heart on it. You could make a little flower with a stem. You could write the word hi on it. That would also be really cute. Or fall. Write the word fall on it. But you could kind of decorate it however you want to. My go-to always is stripes. I just feel like there has to be stripes on something. And there usually always are stripes if I'm making it. So let's add a little of this blue. So this is that 407. We're going to add a little of this blue to it. And I think I'm just going to tone it down a little bit by adding some of this blue to it here. And you know, you can mix, you guys. Mix colors. So I'm going to just do a little a stripe. And let's just get a little more color. That was pretty light. And then we'll just do another one down here. like so. And then, you know, your little detail in the middle, you know, whatever you want to do. I mean, this is such an easy thing to do, is these little petals. Makes a cute little design, and it's pretty hard to mess it up, honestly. And it's such a cute, easy little, simple little thing to do. Okay, so now we've got that done. So let's go on to our little box here. And we're just going to make it look a little rustic. And you guys know we've been doing that in the last couple of tutorials, is making things look rustic. But it's so fun to do that. It's so fun to kind of change them up a little bit. So I'm going to take my twin tone. And I'm going to just make a little triangle, because, you know, that's how we do it. We just make a little triangle. And then we'll just color that in. And then, you know, you can just make a rough, kind of a rough edge here where maybe it looks like it's kind of split apart a little bit. Or here where the seam is, maybe that's kind of split apart. You know, and up here. And then we can come back in and darken some of these lines too, once we get the color on there. All right, so now let's do it. Let's pull the color out of the lines. And you can see that, just that really pretty gray. This, of course, on the side, this is the shady side here. See that really cool mix of gray? It's a great mix of color. And you never want anything to be just one color. You know, you wouldn't want to just color this box like a flat gray, just a single gray, you know, from a single marker like this. It's going to look too one-dimensional. It's not going to look like it's a real painting. And just mixing the colors and adding more than one color to it, that makes such a huge difference. A huge difference. And just pulling this color out like that, you can see all the variation of colors. That's why we do it. Why we start with two colors. Then we're just going to darken this little section in here where it kind of comes together. And you know, we don't go all the way to the edge. Never go all the way to the edge, you know, because then it just looks like a colored triangle. It's such a tiny thing, you guys, but it honestly, trust me, it makes a big difference if you just don't bring that color clear to the edge. And then, you know, maybe you just want to put in a little, you know, a couple of little nails here, and maybe the nails are cracking. You know, see, we've got a little line through that. And that's really all we have to do. Hello, Catherine. Welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Okay, so we're not even halfway done yet. So you're totally fine. Okay, so now let's add just a little bit of color to the top. We're going to keep this little shelf pretty light. And so I'm just going to drag some of this color out here, just to the top. And we're going to just get a really nice mix of color anyway. And that's pretty much, you know, all we need to do. Under here, now, if you want this to look like it's flush, so in other words, no drop here between this leg and the top. You don't need to put a shadow under here. But if you want the table, this shelf, to look like it's overhanging this part here, so in other words, the shelf is coming forward away from the leg, then you want to put a shadow here. And that's going to make it look like the shelf is coming forward. See the difference that made? If you don't put a shadow here, it's going to look like this is all just flushed together. Just nailed together. And remember, you know, where you pull the color out, you know, which side of the line really matters. So when we pull the color out on the right side, that brings this leg forward. It brings it in front of this pot, and it pushes the pot back. And that's exactly the way we want it, because we can't see all of the pot here. And so we want it to look like it's in the background. Same here. So with this, so we're going to pull this color to the outside of the line, because this side here is darker. and it's gonna push that back. You know, this here, you can just kind of decide, you know, does this part come forward? Maybe they're both even. Maybe they're both the same, so we don't need to do any of that. This we know goes back. We know that's going to be in the shadow. See, this lip, just like this lip, that's coming forward. That sticks out farther than the rest of the pot. So this is going to have a shadow underneath here. See, that just pushes this part of the pot back. Let's see how that it immediately does it. And then, you know, of course, this is a round, so we're gonna see a shadow on the sides, because the inside, that's the lightest part, going to be the lightest part. And then on here, same thing. And it's got this little lip still from the bucket, and I just left it on there. I thought it looked really good. So we'll just keep that. And we're going to drag the color out. We're going to wash this little line out that was just here from the bucket handle. And we're just going to make sure we have the majority of color on the sides, like so. And as far as this goes, you know, we can just add a little bit of color back here, but we don't, this is not against something. This is above the ground. So we don't really want to add any color to the outside of this line, because what that does is it makes it look like this is a structure down here, that it's against a wall. Does that make sense? So we don't really want to do much to this one other than maybe just pull a little color out of the line like that. But we don't want to drop any color on this side of the line at all. Same with this up here, because there's nothing underneath it. It's just freestanding. Okay, so now you can see how that, Diana, love the reminders about not coloring to the edge and on the inside of the watering can. Yes, that is just a huge thing. It doesn't seem like it's much, but what it does on this, if you look at this little corner, let's just zoom in here really quick, because this is such a big deal. And making things look rustic is it's so much fun to do. So what this little white spot is, it's this board. It's this board right here. It's the edge of the board. And if you color that, it doesn't look like there's any board here. Does that make sense? It looks like this is just paper thin. And it's just come together and there's no board. But leaving this white space here, that creates the side of the board. And it makes sense when you look at it, because you can see in, but the board now is showing on the outside. It really makes a difference. And now that I'm looking at it, let's add a little shadow to it on this side. So that it really sets that back. See how that just sets that back into the background? Okay, so let's zoom out now. Julie, such a simple but important detail. It is. And when you do these little things, it makes, so when somebody looks at your composition, they just look at it and think that is so good, and they can't really even describe why it is, but this is how we make it look, so that it doesn't look like a coloring book, I guess. That's a simple way to say it, because you can easily color this, but to make it look like it is an actual painting and not a flat colored surface, it makes it look real. And you know what? They're tiny little things. They're not big things. And it's just something that you just remember. You just remember. Okay? All right, let's keep going here. Let's do the little, the birdhouse. So we're just going to add a little color to it. And you know, when I'm using the same color on both sides, I always do the dark side first, because I can always go lighter on the front. So I always just add the color to the darkest area like this. And then usually I still have enough on here that I can do the other side, and it's lighter. It's going to be much lighter. Now you can obviously make this as dark as you want. I have this, you know, just really pastel-y look, and it's very light. And then we're just going to leave this little section up here. We're going to leave that white so we don't have to do anything with that. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of this blue and just mix it in here and just get this a little darker. Just in the background like that. And then let's add a little brown. And we're just going to use the warm brown, the 947. So let's get this back in here. And 947. And we're just going to add some of this color now to the roof. Just brush it on. And then, you know, this color would be on the inside as well. And probably, you know, pretty dark in here. And this one, you know, you can add just a few little details to the roof if you want to. Jazz it up a bit. And then the little perch, like so. And then we need our dark. So we need to add our twin tone because we don't have any depth to it here. We have a little bit with the overhang, but we need to get the depth into these openings. Okay, now you see this edge here. So there's a little edge on the side. It's the same concept as the box up here. It's the edge of the board. So we never want to color in all the way to the edge. Do you see what I mean? See that edge right there? That's the edge of the board. If you colored it all the way in like this, it's going to look like a black spot on top of the birdhouse. It's not going to look like an opening. But because we can see the edge right here, it looks like an opening. And then I'm just going to go really dark up in this corner here where this connects here. And see how that just, when you add the dark color, it just changes. Now see, here we go again with we can make this little crack right here. We can make that little crack in the birdhouse. It just adds a little bit more interest, you know, to it. And having that edge on there, that makes such a huge difference. It's such a giant little thing. Okay, so let's keep going and let's add a little color to this pot and we'll add a little bit more to here and then we'll go to our florals and finish those up. All right, so we're going to add some orange and make this a little terracotta pot. So I'm going to add a little 925 and it doesn't matter what orange you use either. It doesn't matter. This is a 933. You could add a little brown to it. You could add a little yellow to it. You could really, you know, mix the colors up on it. But you want to, you know, always start the same way. So start with the color on the side where it's going to be the darkest, and it just kind of shows through a tiny bit over on this side. So where it's the darkest, pinch your brush off and then drag it to the center. And leave that little highlight and stay in each section. Can't tell you enough how important that is. And then do it again. Just do it again and get it darker. Pinch your brush off, drag it to the center. Like so. And then you can add another color to it. Just, you know, another little variation of color because that always makes a difference when you do that. And you know what? It's still a little too wet to add a stripe to it, but we'll do that. just getting a mix of colors makes such a difference on these things. All right, so we're going to leave this container, we're going to leave this white, so that just means we're going to take some of the blue, the 565, and we're going to make the shadows in here, because anything that's white is not uncolored. It's got a color. Pinch your brush off, drag it to the center. That shadow. Okay, so now this is dried. This is dried, so we can do a little stripe on there. Okay, so now let's go over to this one. And we'll take some of this blue, and we'll do the same thing here. And I'm going to mix a little gray with it. So this is that gray that, you know what, I better zoom out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm mixing, here's that 565 blue, and I'm just mixing a little gray with it. Just to kind of gray it up a little bit, and then I'm going to add this color to the container, to the outside again, and then just drag it to the center. And these colors are all just super light. They're really, really light. So you can always make these darker, go darker. So now, as soon as that's dry, is that dry? It should be. We're going to add another stripe here, just because. And you always want to have a bit of a bend in it, because the container's round. So if you make that stripe and it's too straight, it's going to make your container look flat, even if you have your shadows in. Even if you have your shadows and highlight, if this stripe is straight, your pot is going to look flat. So that's another big, important, huge thing. Okay, so now let's go on to our little flowers, and let's do this one first, and then we'll go to the big one. So we're going to just get the little vine out, this one right here. And let me just move this out of the way just for a minute here. And sometimes, if your paper wants to bend up a little bit, just go like this. I do this all the time because I don't like it to bow up. All right, so I'm just going to ink a little part of this, so just the tip. Just the tip, and I'm going to just use a piece of Post-it tape and just cover the edge, because I don't want to stamp over that edge. I want to make sure that everything I'm putting in here stays in here. Now, this is also another trick to do. So you want to make sure that you're not stamping outside of the pot when you cover it up. So if you can't see through it, make a little line here so that you know where your parameters are, and that's where you're going to stamp. So now you can just stamp this in here. We can just put this in here however many times we want. And with rubber, you get multiple impressions with rubber. So now we can take that off. Pinch it off, dip your brush, pinch it off, and then just touch all of these little areas. The green is dark, so you can stamp over the lines. That's totally fine. And just drag some of this color out like that. Okay, so now let's do this one. Actually, let's do this one. Let this dry, and then we'll add the flowers in here, and then we'll do this one. So we're going to just use, here's the stamp, and you can see it's got the little grasses, and then it's got the blooms up here. So we also want to tape this off because we don't want it to come down onto the pot. So we want to keep this separate. You can also just drop it a hair down below the line so that you can see. You can do that too. And here are my lines right here. Here's my parameters of the pot. And that's where I have to stay. Now I'm getting really close to the birdhouse, so I'm gonna just tape this off too. So I don't have to worry about, you know, stamping on top of the birdhouse. And you don't have to make a, you know, mask of the birdhouse. Just use your tape and just tape it off. Now, if you want to do the same over here, you can do the same here and just kind of keep this area, you know, all confined. All right, so now we're going to start with the lighter color, and we're just going to start with, let me just make sure this is really cleaned off, because we're going to start with a yellow. So I've got a little baby wipe over here, and it looks like I had some red or orange on that. So let's just make sure that's cleaned off. Okay, so we're going to use this gold. So this is the 26, or you could use your yellow, the 993. You could use that one too, either one. It's kind of a cool fall color, this gold. And then we're going to use the green. And we're just going to ink the green. And you want to just stamp kind of, you know, a little bit. It's harder to see when it's rubber, but you kind of have to just guess a little bit as to where it's going. And put it in here like that. Now, I'm happy with how the green is stamped, but I need more up here. So I'm just going to ink it again. I'm going to take the green off, and I'm going to ink it again with this gold. And make sure that I'm getting enough color in here, like that. So now I'm going to clean this off, get all that yellow off. And it's not as critical when you're going from yellow to another color, especially if it's orange. And actually, let's do this orange. So this is the orange I'm using is the 925, but you could use the other one too. And if it overlaps onto the gold a little bit, that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing again with that orange. I want to make sure that I get enough, and maybe I'll use this orange too. So this is the other orange. This is the 933. So let's just add some of this orange to it also, and that'll be really cute. Okay, so now we can take all these off. We've protected all of our work so that we don't get overstamped, anything overstamped on it. And now we can just start adding the water to it. So with this grass, we're just making these strokes that kind of go down. So you're just kind of brushing it down like that. And then just, you know, start with the light and just dab. And, you know, kind of get it into that green section. And then go to the orange. And it's okay if it overlaps. And you can kind of get it right up to this little flower here too. So cute. This always looks like a watercolor to me when I use this stamp. It always looks like that. And you can add in, so you could take your bullet tip and you can add a little more green in here and just kind of blend it together. Okay, like so. Now let's go on to this one. Let's move everything out of the way again. Let's bring this palette back over. And I'm just going to add another little shadow under here and under here. Make sure that we really get a good shadow under here. And actually, you know what? We could just add a little shadow here too. And there would be just a little shadow on this little birdhouse too, just sitting underneath there. Okay, so now let's go to this little flower. And we might as well just get the leaves in first. So we might as well just get these since we've got the palette right here. And I'm just coloring that in. You could, you could also freehand, another leaf in here if you want to. Don't be afraid to do that. If you want to just add, another little leaf in here, you can. You can totally do that. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to my little brush, and we're doing this little detailed flower, so we want to get in. I'm just going to zoom in really close. Mary, how is it you don't get paint from your fingers on your paper? Oh my, you know what, Mary? I do. And for the most part, I think I've kind of learned to just keep this hand like this so that I'm not touching anything. But mostly it's this area here that is really inky. But my problem is that my hands are always stained. They always have paint on them. Okay, so now let me zoom in on here because this is also important on how we color this little floral. We want it to look realistic, and right now it's just an outline. So, we always want to follow this same rule where the darkest color is on the inside where the petals kind of come down and join. So that's the first thing that we're doing is use a small brush and get this area in here darkest. And anything that's an overhang, see where this petal comes into here? This is darker in here. And then the edges are always lighter. And with something like this, you want to just take your time. It's going to be worth it when you do that. And all of these little cracks here where the petals all come together, that's all dark. That's all going to be the darkest part of the flower. So just go through. First step is always just get the dark areas in. Anything that's overlapping. See how this one overlaps? That's going to be darker there. Same here. Same here. And then we can come back in with more color. So let me flip this around so we can get this into the screen. Wow, home note now and have a bigger picture. Love the way it's coming along. Thanks, Peggy. It is so fun. This is a really fun project. It really was. And I love that we can just use parts of things. This is just part of that foundation set. All right, so let's put some color on here. This is the 407. And then you can mix. This is a 565. We can add a little of this color to it too. So let's just keep going from now. Let's go on to this little flower here and pull the color out here and get this first part done. You can see I'm just really applying that color to, where those petals connect. And all these tiny little spaces in here. And these little petals that are really in the background, they can have a little more color. But still the edge, I want to keep the edge pretty light. Okay, so now let's mix a little bit of this color. And then you're only taking the color from where it's the lightest area. So here where it's the most watered down, and then just adding a little of this color in here. And then just, make that just a little bit darker. and still just drag that color down and leave those tips pretty light. So the first step, is always just getting into the cracks, getting the darkest colors out. And then the second step is just bringing more color in, adding more color to the petals. And really darkening it here, in the center. And like I said, just take your time. It's worth it to just take your time and just carefully go through everything. All these little petals. Okay, it's coming together. We're almost done, you guys, with this project. How fast was that? And when you apply that color and it's really dark, just dip your brush, pinch it off, and just pull that color. And all these tiny little areas, in here, they all have dark areas where they kind of come together. Same in here. And we can just add a little green and just put the detail back into these leaves. And then we also want this little dark area like this. All right, so now I'm going to take my fine tip, and this is that turquoise, just a really pretty turquoise. And I'm just going to put a few more little lines back in. Because we kind of wash out those lines because we take that color, and so we're just putting a few of these lines back in. Especially in here, where it's really dark in the center. Okay, so let's zoom out. And look how cute our project is, you guys. So cute. Okay, I'm just going to do one more thing. I'm going to just put a little shadow underneath. And I'm just going to do that with a little bit of blue and just run a line that is just directly under here. So we can see that that's just a little shadow, and we could just put a little shadow here too, and maybe here also. Okay, this was a fun project. It really was. I'm just going to add a little color back in here too. See if there's anything else we need to do. Is there anything I missed, you guys? Catherine, so cute. Entered to win. You are entered, Catherine. You are entered. What about the long stems? Oh, you guys. Yes. Suska? You know what? I count on you guys. Thank you so much. Yes, I would have hung up. I would have got off and I would have thought I need to go back on and put those flowers in. So thank you so much. So here it is. And this is a long stem and it's kind of on a small block, but I'm only using part of it, so it doesn't matter at all. You're so welcome, You are so welcome. Sherry's on her lunch. Great. Good. We'll take you for as long as we can take you. Okay, so I don't need to ink this whole thing, but I'm still going to put a little Post-it tape on here just so that I don't stamp onto the pot. I just want to make sure that I don't do that. And then I'm going to take the same 407. So this is a 407, and I'm just going to ink the little flower and the stem with the green. And then I'm just going to add it, you know, probably like about here, and then we'll just put one there. And then we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to drag that color from the middle, like this. And not do too much with the edge. You know, you can grab a little bit of it, but you want to see that highlight on there. That's just it's really important. Okay, and I'm going to take my little brush now, and I'm going to just darken this stem. And I think I'm just going to make this look like it's in front of it, like so. And I just added a little bit of color to the center of that. And of course, we want that just a little bit darker underneath that floral. And I'm going to just use my bullet tip. This is that bright blue. And just add some little centers in here. Actually, let's use the small brush. And I'm just going to take a little more of this bright blue and just add it to these little petals. And you know, you could make this flower whatever color. You can make any of these flowers whatever color you want. Even if they're not really, there is no such a thing. As a flower this color, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's my philosophy. You know, if I want to make it that color, then I do. And that's that. Okay, so the only thing left to do is we can add a little bit of white paint to it, which, you know what, is always my favorite thing. I'm going to go ahead and sign it. And then we'll just add a little white paint to it. Diane, so pretty. Love seeing this set used with the newer flowers along with the originals. Thank you, Diane. Yes, it's fun to mix it up. It really is. It's fun to pull something out that you have and use it with something new. And you totally can do that. Okay, let's get the white paint out. And my little brush. And I'm just, you know, I'm not pinching my brush off. I'm putting it directly wet into the white paint so that I can kind of thin it out a little bit. And get that white paint on here. And then I'm just going to add some white flowers. Some little white mums in the front. Like so. What else can we do? We can add some little white dots in here. cute. And then maybe we just put some little white, oops, let's get a little more here. Maybe there's some little white flowers on these leaves. Just 'cause. And I mean, we could just add a little bit in here as well. And maybe we just put a little highlight on this bucket. And a little highlight on here. You know, everywhere we think we can add a little white paint. Anytime you add it to a lip like that, it's going to catch the light. So see how that just made an edge on that little container? The same with a roof. You know, you can do that to a roof too, and it'll just really kind of pop it out. Okay, I think that's all we can do. So let me put the lid on. Okay, do you guys see anything else I forgot? Sherry, you always make my day a little brighter. Oh, that's so kind. You guys make my day. You might make my day brighter. Love how you added a little to the side of the pot with, yes, over the stripes on the first one you showed us. Yes. So you can, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so on here you can see that I sort of added it to the stripe, but not 100%. I mean, it really doesn't matter. See this one here, it's over the stripe. So basically it's just a highlight. It's just a highlight on there. And you know, it just adds another little detail to it. Grant Sue, beautiful. I haven't painted this year. Can't I see myself painting anything before next year? While watching today, I thought next year I would want to make it on my agenda to paint along or after each project. Let's see if that happens. Grandchildren are knitting. My job sees me very time poor, but thank you again for your awesome tutorials. You are so welcome, Sue, and I get it. I get it, and I appreciate you being on here with me because I know everybody has limited time, and we are just in such a crazy, busy world, and there's just, you know, the time just flies by. And how is it already November? It's just, I can't wrap my brain around it. So I appreciate you all being on here. I know that everyone is busy, and you take the time to be on with me on Watercolor Wednesday, and every time that I'm on live, I just appreciate it so much. I love having you guys on with me. I love it when you paint with me. And those of you who can't be on live, you know, I love having you on here too. So I understand your schedules. You know, everybody's, you know, got commitments. Pat, you are so welcome, Masterclass. Terry kept up. Yes, great. Well, you know, sometimes I just get really chatty and wordy. And so, you know, that gives you guys time to catch up and stay up with me. So I guess that sometimes that's a good thing. Okay, you guys, we will wrap this up. Thanks so much for being on with me. And I appreciate it so much. I will see you all next week. And I hope you join me again. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, and I'll see you all next week.